Hey everyone, it's Jill the Wandering Stamper. I hope you're having a wonderful Wednesday. I am having a fabulous Wednesday. My sweet little grandson was born actually last week. He had some complications, so he was in the NICU for a week, but he's home now doing well. And after this video, I'm gonna bake my daughter some muffins and go over there and give that little baby some snuggles. So exciting stuff here. And today we are going to make a really cool card. I think it's one of my favorite fun folds ever. Actually, there's no folding in it, but it's one of my favorites that I've come across so far, and I've been making lots of them, so I wanted to share. It's a top swivel card, and it's really unique and really cool and very versatile. So let me take a moment to turn down the camera and we'll get started on making this really cool card, and we're going to make our very first Thanksgiving card today. See you in a second. Here is what we're working with today. Oh my gosh, this stuff is so pretty. As I mentioned in my previous video, fall is my favorite season and Thanksgiving is my very favorite holiday. That's the only bummer about traveling. Sometimes we don't always get around to the people we love, and sometimes Thanksgiving is not with family, but I try to make the best of that anyways. I absolutely love cooking for a huge crowd on Thanksgiving. I know that's crazy, but that's one thing I miss about not having a home, like a stationary house with lots of dishes and a big giant table and all that, because I can't do that anymore. I have to go to everybody else's houses and help them cook their dinners, and that's fine, but that's probably the only thing I miss as an RVer. Or one of the things I miss most, I guess, about an RVer. So anyways, I digress. Here is what we're using to create this card. I am so excited about this card. So we're using this beautiful wild wheat gold ribbon. This comes in the Autumn Expressions suite of products. I can't remember what the suite is called, but I will have it in my blog. I think it's called, I know the stamp set is Autumn Expressions, so it's Autumn something. Anyways, it comes with lots of products. So these gold textured adhesive back dots are another product we'll be using. We're going to use these woven golden leaves. I love these leaves. They're so pretty, and they're going to be great for Christmas cards as well. And then the star of the show, the Autumn Expressions cling stamps and the coordinating dies. This font is so pretty. And I love that they put in a few things that are not really, I mean, these are really, they're autumn and maybe Thanksgiving, but not. So you could use them all year round, which I love. So this could be used after Thanksgiving is over. So this is a very versatile set. And then it comes with all these really cool dies. Now, when you die cut, you end up with all these extra pieces, which, look at this. I'm collecting, well, this is from a different die, but I'm collecting all these extra pieces from using this frame die. And we're going to use this frame die today. It's super cool. It not only has the frame, but it has like a little chain, it has a little clasp, and then it has some of the leaves and some of the stamp dies as well. Now I have my dies on a piece of magnetic sheet because I like to keep them right in the stamp box when I can, so that everything is in one place. It just makes RV life a little easier since space is a challenge once in a while. So we're going to be using that. And then I am going to be stamping in Cajun Craze because I picked out Cajun Craze for the paper color. And then I'm using thick basic white cardstock. If you don't have thick, you can use regular white cardstock, maybe even add a layer of colored cardstock behind it. It just gives it a nice, heavier, more sturdy card. So I do use that for this card. And then I chose this beautiful design out of the Splendid Autumn, which actually Splendid Autumn might be the suite name. Splendid Autumn Designer Series paper. This is 6x6 paper. The back is beautiful shades of fall background colors, and then the front is just, I've used so much of this pack already, just these beautiful scenes. My favorite, and I'm gonna have to order another pack just because, is this sunflower. Oh my gosh, I wish I gave us more sheets of this sunflower because I love it, and I've only got one left, so I'm savoring it. But I love these designs. I love the scene paper because you can have so much fun with it. I started to create a card the other day and change gears, so look at this. I have a piece all ready to go on another card. But I'm going to show you some other cards that are not fun folds that I was using when I played around with this set. It's so, so pretty. So we'll be using that. And this card is so simple but so cool, so I can't wait to get started and show you how to make it. So we're going to go ahead and get our paper cutter. My goal today is to not get out of your screen. I know I struggle with that, so today hopefully I'm actually going to not get out of your screen. I know the last video I think I did a couple of times, especially when I was showing off cards. I'm like, oh, Jill. Okay, so we're going to start out with a card base. Our base is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. Now I happen to have the exact size sheet left from my thick basic white cardstock, so it's already cut out. So when you make this card, you could make 4 cards using 1 sheet of thick white and 1 sheet of your colored cardstock, and then maybe a couple of sheets of this designer series paper. So this card doesn't use a ton of paper, which I love. So it's a great card to create a Christmas cards or Thanksgiving cards or something with this fold, because it's really cool, but you don't use a ton of paper, which is great. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, your standard card size. All right, and now we're going to want to cut our layers for our swivel card. So we're going to have a top layer and a bottom layer. The top layer is going to swivel, bottom layer is stationary. So our top layer is going to be 3 1/8 by 4 1/4. So I'm going to cut 4 1/4 by 3 1/8. And what I do is, as I'm cutting them, I just kind of put the top at the top, so I just know where it is. And then our bottom layer is going to be 3 by 4 1/4. So we still have 4 1/4. So then the next piece is going to be 3 inches. So you can get several cards out of 1 sheet of paper, which I love. All right, so that is our bottom piece. I'm going to lay it right there. And that's it. So now we're going to go to our designer series paper. So I decided I want to have this color on the top, and then I want to have this design on the bottom. So what I think I'm going to do is make the tree design the bottom part, and then have the gold at the top. So I'm going to go ahead, and the top layer is going to be 3 by 4 1/8. So I'm going to cut 3 inches by 4 1/8, and since I'm using the gold, I don't really have to care about what side of the paper I want to use or whatever, because I'm actually going to use this. So that's going to go at the top. And then the bottom piece is going to be 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. So on this piece, I just want to figure out which side I want to use. And I think I want to use this side because I like how there's a lot more gold in the trees, and it kind of goes along with this gold. So 4 1/8. We have had turkeys. Go figure, because we're doing a Thanksgiving card today. But we have had turkeys hanging out in our campsite. And sorry, I'm looking at this for a second, make sure I'm cutting it right. And it's funny because I keep looking up and there'll be a turkey walking through our campsite. So it's been a really funny day today. All right, and then we're going to cut 2 7/8. And remember, I'll have all of the cutting and, well, there's no scoring on this one, but all the cutting instructions will be in my blog. So just click the link below to get there. All right. So to go back over that bottom one, because I know I was talking, it's 2 7/8 by 4 1/8, and that layers nicely on this piece. All right, so that's it for cutting. Super simple. Base 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. The top layer 3 1/8 by 4 1/4. The DSP for the top layer is 3 by 4 1/8. Our bottom layer is 3 by 4 1/4. And our DSP for our bottom layer is 2 7/8 by 4 1/8. So that is all you need for that. And I'm going to show you how to get this card cut. Now I already did the die cutting, so we'll just be doing some stamping and embellishing on top of that. So what I start out with is the bottom piece. And I did not get out my glue press. Let's get that out real quick. This is from My Sweet Petunia. I'm not affiliated with them at all, but I absolutely love this glue press because it just makes gluing everything so much easier. And I love using liquid glue because I like that extra time I have to glue things down. So it is out and ready to go. And I like that it keeps the glue at the bottom, so it's always ready to dispense. All right. So let's start out with the bottom piece. So I've got these 2 bottom pieces. I'm going to go ahead and adhere the designer series paper to the base. Easy peasy. And it just has a nice little narrow margin. And I feel like when you have the narrow margins, it seems so much easier to get everything centered. Do you guys find that to be that way? All right, so this is the back of our card. So we're going to be adding this to the bottom, just like so. All right, so we're going to be using some dimensionals for that. So I am going to grab my big ones and my take your pick tool. Now, when you add the dimensionals, make sure you know where the bottom is. So this is the bottom of my card. So I'm only adding dimensionals to the middle and the bottom, okay? I don't want to put anything up here. So we are going to, and I'm kind of just using these dimensionals, kind of getting it close to the edge, and I like that there's straight edges on these because it makes it easy to get these close to the bottom. And put one more right here. So just like that. Now, if you want, if you're not putting, you could put an insert in this card, and if you did that, you wouldn't want to put any dimensionals here. I found that it doesn't matter either way. This is enough to work. But if you want to put one or two dimensionals in the middle, you totally can if you're not adding anything else inside the card. And I know that doesn't make sense at the moment, but you'll see my other samples. I created this cool little insert for inside of it. And that's where you want to not have anything impeding the inside of the card. So what I'm doing is laying that directly over the card base, just like that, okay? As close as you can. My card is just a bit wider than it needs to be, but it's okay. I can actually trim it with scissors later if I want to. So we didn't put any dimensionals at the top, and there's a reason for that. So the next thing we're going to do is grab our other layers, and we're going to glue that on this designer series paper onto our cardstock, just like so. And again, it just has a teeny tiny narrow little margin. This actually might have to be my Thanksgiving card because I love it so much. Got to start working on those. And if you're watching these videos, I know this is dropping in October. I actually am about a month and a half ahead on when I'm actually filming these because I have to do it that way because when we're traveling and moving, it's really hard to do my videos, especially if we're visiting national parks or whatever. So it's actually September or August right now when I'm filming this, but you're not going to see it till October. So that's why sometimes you'll hear the air conditioner on, or you might see me in summer clothes. It's because it's actually summer. I just have to plan these videos well in advance because if I don't, things can get crazy, and I don't want to have to rush a video for you guys. I always try to give you the best I can. All right, so what I did is now I've layered this card. It tucks underneath the bottom card. So you want to get all of your edges straight and then pinch your card, hold your card tightly. And I have a very small hole punch, teeny tiny. Now if you don't have that, you can get your paper piercing mat and pierce a hole with your take your pick tool as well, but we're going to be adding a brad to this, so I want a very small hole. So I am just going to go in here and punch my hole just like that. And then do you remember these round square brads? I have gold ones and I have silver ones, and then I have these black and white ones, and I believe these are retired from a year or so ago, and I had bought a couple of them because they come in handy. So I'm grabbing a small black one and I'm just going to pop it in there. Any size works. I've used all the different sizes. And then I'm going to just press this, and we are going to cover this back up so that it doesn't turn and stick out of the card. You could do that, or if you wanted to, you can bend these again. They're very super pliable, but look, cool, right? You know what I forgot to do though? I planned to stamp this, and I didn't stamp it. I got so excited showing you how this works. So let's take this out for a second, not lose it, and I'm going to stamp it really quick because I forgot it. So I'm going to grab where's my stamp? This leaf. This leaf is super pretty. I like leaves, especially fall leaves. I'm from Florida, so we didn't really get much fall leaves growing up. We had to go somewhere for that. So I do love that traveling takes me to places that actually have fall leaves. So let's get this to a cleaner side for you. So I do enjoy the fall leaves. All right, so I am just going to, in a sense, just create my own background paper here. And I'm just going to make these leaves just blowing around here and there. I'm trying not to make them too uniform. I hate that. You ever do that? You just start stamping and everything's too matchy-matchy. All right, I'll put one off here. And I'm using wild wheat because that's the shade of this paper. I think that looks good. So that is in wild wheat. So it's very complementary to this paper. All right, now that that's done, we can go back in here and add this piece. And since we lined up our edges, it just lines up really easy. Put this back in. See how much nicer that looks with the design on it? Super cool. All right, so there we go. Now, I'm a dork today, let me tell you. I also didn't stamp my inside. You want to probably do this all ahead of time because the last thing you want to do is stamp your stuff and it's not straight. So we're gonna hold our breath and make sure hope that Jill does this straight today. And I'm going to try to stand up here. Oh my goodness. All right, that's okay. All right, not quite straight, but it'll do. I shouldn't have probably stood up. It's not too bad. All right, stamp that ahead of time so that way if you don't get it straight, it's not a problem. So now that this is done, we're going to go ahead and work on the top. So I have die cut. Remember we have this cool, let me grab it out of the box here. We have this cool frame die. So when you cut these, you get this piece. You get a little piece in the middle that has to have a purpose, but I haven't figured that out yet. And you end up with two of these, all right? So that's why I put these back in the box because these are great for tags later for things. So I'm not using that, but I popped this out. So I have this. And then I put half of a piece of paper, white cardstock in here and just ran it through the cutter. So I actually ran it through this one. So I have one in white because I wanted one in white to go underneath, all right? So the first thing we're gonna do is stamp our greeting. And let's see, let's do grateful for you. That sounds like fun. So I'm gonna grab that stamp. At least I remembered to stamp this piece. Sometimes I get excited about showing you the actual fold and I don't get the prep work done. I should do that. Do a better job at that. All right. So this just fits, so I'm just kind of trying to get this straight for you, but I'm eyeballing this. Perfect. All right, Jill, you redeemed yourself. Okay, so we've got that. And so now the way I like to do this is I get my silicone craft sheet out. And there's score lines on this already, so it tells you exactly where to score. So you just fold it like this, and this is the front. And you can tell that because the tabs here are longer, and that's so if you want to create, like this is great to create an ornament or put a photo in or whatever, they actually bend. So when you use this die, you'll actually see how it bends. So that's how I know that this is the front. So what I like to do is I like to put it backwards. This is just my technique. And then it fits exactly in the frame right here. All right. See how that works? So all I have to do is, and you can tape this down if it's in your way, but all I have to do is put glue on this part because it's going to go over the edge of our white piece. And you don't have to worry about manipulating it or getting it straight because it's going to fold right over. So I just go through here and just kind of do close to the edges. So I do two so I can get the inside and the outside. So just like that, that's all you need to do. And I make sure this is pretty much in the frame the way it die cut, and then just fold it down. And it catches the edge perfectly. So I just kind of let it set for a minute. And now when you flip it over, look, perfect. It's perfectly centered in the frame and it's attached. Now, you could glue these little tabs over, add the little mechanism, put the chain, and put it on a card, and I'll show you one that way. But I'm using it like a tag today, so I am just going to grab my scissors and cut that off just like that. And I'm going to do the same for the top because I don't need these. So I'm just going to cut them away, and they're super easy to cut away. Just like that. Okay, so now it's just a frame. All right. So now that that's done, that is going to go up here. All right, and we're going to be using some dimensionals. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm only going to put dimensionals on the bottom portion. Make sure. I always have to double check because sometimes I flip things around backwards. Do you guys do that? And then I put things on upside down. I know you've seen me do that. So I'm just going to go halfway up because we don't want it to close up the card because then your mechanism's not going to work. Oh, I'm going to put one here and then one more right here. That should be good. All right, take these up. Corral these things so I don't have them stuck everywhere in the RV. All right, so that is done. And the reason I'm putting this on first is it helps me, and I just put my fingertips where the brads or the dimensionals start and just put that on there, just like that. And then just give a peek and make sure you don't have any dimensionals showing. And I don't. So that's good. So now that I have that on there, I know exactly where to place the rest of my embellishments. So I went ahead, I never know what I'm going to use. So when I cut these things, I cut lots of them. So I'm going to lay this out right here. These are all the different pieces I just went ahead and die cut just to figure out what I needed. Now, when you look at this, one more step that we haven't done yet. So you see how it drops down in here? You don't want that to happen. So the way to fix that is to line it all up, pinch it, and just hold it there, okay? Now while you have it there, grab yourself a dimensional, and you're going to put that dimensional, put that straight edge right at where that card lands, just like that, okay? And that's going to act as a stopper. So now I'm going to push it down, and look, now my card won't go any further than where it's supposed to go, okay? A little tip there. All right, so I think I'm going to grab some of these leaves too because they're so pretty. These leaves are sort of like mesh, like metal, like mesh. I'm going to grab two of these, and they have a very faint, I know you can't see it, they have a leaf pattern, and there's different sizes, and there's like 75 in a pack, so these will last you a while. They're super pretty, and they work well on holiday cards as well. So I know I'm going to grab a couple of these, and then I think I'm going to stick to the earth tones. I really like this one because I cut it out of the designer series paper. Isn't that cool? I like that. So that's pretty. So now that I know what I'm going to use, I'm going to push these out of the way. The gold paper is gorgeous too, by the way. Look how pretty that is. Super, super pretty. And if you did any kind of, you could die cut this in gold foil paper, and that would be super pretty, and then adding in this little piece here would pull that together. Very pretty. So, all right, now that I know what I want, I'm going to put it about right here. Now you don't want things to go way above the top of your card, so I'm going to kind of make sure that doesn't happen. So I'm going to start at the bottom layer and work my way out. That's how I like to do it. Just kind of building my images. So I'm going to start with this big one, and I'm just going to stick a glue dot on it. And I'm making sure that it's not going to go above the top of the card. And I like the glue dots because you can reposition them if you're not happy with, this is a new thing of glue dots, so I tied my bow a little tight on it, but it keeps my paper from going crazy. But you want to make sure everything fits nicely. And I like to put it this way because I can kind of just visualize it as I'm building it. And I know everything's going to work. So we'll put this one here. This would be pretty if you stamped any of the wild wheat images, or the wheat images in wild wheat. You could die cut one of those wheat images. That would be really pretty. You can't go wrong with fall colors. They all go together. All right, I'm going to put this last one right here. So see how pretty that is? It just adds a nice little touch. All right, so that is done. So now the next step is, somebody may not exactly know what to do with this card. So what I like to do is grab a piece of that ribbon, and you just need a couple of inches, not too much. So I'm just going to cut about 2 inches of that. And then I'm going to grab my glue dots, move this down a little bit, and I'm going to put one here, and then I'm going to fold it on itself, and then I'm going to add a couple more. So I'll put one here. We need one more, one about halfway up. Okay, so I've got 2 on the back here. So what I'm going to do is grab the back of this and just put it here. The ribbon can fold over, so it's not going to impede putting the card in the envelope. So now they have a little pull tab right there. See? Works out well. So the last thing we want to do is some embellishments. So I told you this card's pretty easy. Do your stamping first. That was the only thing I struggled with because I stamped it with a camera in my way and didn't do such a great job, but other than that, I'm very happy with it. So we're going to go ahead and grab some of these gold textured adhesive dots. I think they're pretty and they pull in that paper. So I'm going to put one here, and I'll put one here. All right, that's it. That was easy, right? Let me move some of this mess out of the way. And I have all these pieces left over to make additional cards, so I'll put those back in the box. Sometimes I'll put them in a little envelope and put them in the box. A lot of time they just sit in the box. That way I have them for the next time I want to make a card. So here's our card. It says, "Grateful for you. May the beauty of the season fill your heart with joy." And you have plenty of room to write. Now, if you want, you can... what is going on here? Oh, my ribbon is caught. I'll have to trim that. So one thing you may find you don't have enough room to write. So you can add a piece of basic white cardstock to the back and cover this up. The other thing I tend to do is, let me grab it. I'll cut out, you know, that oval punch has the smaller oval, and you can use a small circle if you have like a 1-inch circle punch. That'll work as well. And I just grab, I'm grabbing a scrap here. I just grab a scrap of paper and cut that oval out. Add some liquid glue, just like this. And these are so thin that they're very easy to cover up. And so I'll just glue this oval right over it. Just give it a press and hold it for a second. And it's barely noticeable, and it covers up the back of your brad, but it also keeps your brad from spinning around and sticking out of the card. So you can do it that way, or if you want to add another panel back here to write on, just add a panel, maybe even add your stamp back here, and then of course do that before you assemble it, and then you don't have to do this step with the little die cut. But it just makes it nicer. So here's our fall card. And then let me show you the other cards I made. So this is with the Winterly Treetop set. This could totally be a Christmas card if you wanted it to be, but I love that the Winterly Treetop set is not really necessarily Christmas. It doesn't have any Christmas sayings in it. So you can use it for Christmas, but you could also use it all year long. And these sweet birds, I just love them. So what I did is I used the bird die to cut out the birds in the Designer Series paper. So there was no coloring involved in this front piece. And then I die cut the greenery that's in the dies from Garden Green. And this is cherry cobbler and crumb cake. And then for the top, I cut the layer that we did for Designer Series paper on the top for the first card. I actually just cut in crumb cake cardstock and ran it through the die, which is the Rich Birchwood 3D embossing folder. Love it. It's so pretty, and it matches the Designer Series paper pattern because they're birch trees that the birds are flying in. So that works out really well. And then the shape that I used for the base that the birds are on is from the Nested Essential dies. And let me show you the dies for Winterly Treetops. Look how pretty this is. This can go on the front of a card, and it's a leaf design, and it's just very, very pretty set. So definitely check that out. The Designer Series paper is absolutely gorgeous. I love birds, so anything with birds makes me super happy. I think I put it away, but it's got lots and lots of designs. So this is the back of this piece of paper here. So lots of pretty designs. When you open this one up though, look, I created an insert that says "Miss You," and then all I did was stamp it and then just colored in the berries in cherry cobbler. That's all I did because I thought the simple elegance of it was just enough. So that goes right back in there. So that's another way to do this, and I'll have the dimensions for that insert in my blog post. So very, very pretty card, and then I use that same shape back there. And you can't see this brad, but I use the little diamond shape one, the square one, for that, but you can't even see it with the shape. So check out what shapes you have for your dies. You can create your framing with those, and sometimes you don't even see that little brad. Not that it's a hindrance. And this last card, look how pretty. This is a Christmas card, and I used the gorgeous Regal Winter Designer Series paper. I used this pattern, but this paper is so pretty. You could use it all year round, but it's got, look, that looks like fall to me. But really pretty. They're a little different. They're not your standard red and green. Super pretty jewel tone colors you can use for Christmas or all year. And then I paired it with the Distress Patterns specialty paper, which has gold in it. So that's how I created that on a base of cherry cobbler. And then I used the Peaceful Seasons stamp set. So I use this Friends and Family of the True Gift of Christmas. This is a great set to have some really nice sayings for your Christmas cards. Love that. And then there's coordinating dies that cut all these cool shapes out. And all of these dies, 1, 2, 3 of them have tabs that cut out to feed your ribbon through. So if you see this card, these little tabs, you can put ribbon in them or paper or whatever. So you can do different things with these, and it's super pretty and elegant, and they emboss the patterns on top of it. So I cut this out in gold foil paper to kind of give it a shimmer and pull in the gold that's in this Designer Series paper. So I love the dies that go with this. Super pretty. And then the inside, I created this little card. May the season be filled with warmth and cheerful celebration. And that comes from Greetings of the Season. So that's another Christmas word set that is really good. It has 2 from. You can make tags with this, which is great for tags. The dies are fabulous. Look at these dies. All kind of shapes for Christmas tags. And for using for your cards. And this would work all year round. You can use these all year round. So these dies are some that once you have them, you'll never want to get rid of them because you'll use them lots and lots and lots. So you can create some really pretty tags with this set. So I used the greeting inside there. And since there's no room to write, I went ahead and added another panel of paper behind it so that I could write my message on there. And then it tucks right back in to this card. Hard to do this on camera. Just like that. And then close it up. And since I used the little gold brad and it had very short pokies on the back, I didn't put anything back here. It wasn't very noticeable, so I left it alone. And then the ribbon is this comes with one of the suites of products, but you can also just order it. It's the cherry cobbler and gold ribbon. It's so pretty. It's got a string of gold. It's very thin. It's a really pretty ribbon. So, and then the embellishments. Oh, I don't have them out, but I will link those below as well so you know what products I use. So there we go. We've got a fall card. We've got potential Christmas, but any time of the year, and a Christmas card. 3 beautiful cards, very simple to make. This is a card you could make all year long. You could put a gift card in here. You could use the pocket thoughts and add a little pocket in there for gifts. I mean, there's so many different ways you can make this card. So there you go. Don't forget to click on the link below to get all of the cutting instructions and a list of the products I used. Also, if you don't already subscribe, don't forget to click the subscribe button so that you get notification of all of my videos that come out typically on Wednesday. I've got a newsletter I am finally working on and some other things hoping to get started in the new year. So bear with me, I'm getting there. Other than your Wednesday video, I'm hoping to give you a little bit more soon. So I'm Jill the Wandering Stamper. I hope you get a chance to craft today, and I hope you have a lovely Wednesday. See you next week. Bye.